So for this instructional material assignment, I chose to use this true story of the Three Little Pigs by John Siska. And I chose this story because I saw a lot of potential for individual, peer-to-peer, and group activities, especially in discussion. I felt like there's a lot of potential for that, especially it's a parody of a common fairy tale, and so there's a lot of fun with that. It's a really entertaining book, and hopefully that would be engaging for all learners in the classroom. The illustrations are also very fun, and they connect the text to the picture, and so that offers an opportunity to connect to the story, to gather context clues, and this is helpful for all learners, but especially for English language learners. So I would use this book in a first grade mainstream classroom. And in this classroom, the idea is that there are various English language learners from different backgrounds, they speak different languages, and they're all at a different level in their English language mastery. So I base the activities based on that understanding of that classroom context. So the first activity, I decided I'd use a video. There's a video found online. The link is actually attached in the document with this video if you'd like to use it. And it displays each page of the book, and there's a narrator that does some great voices for the wolf and for each pig that he comes across. And the idea, you could, as the teacher, physically read the book, go through the pages, you could do the voices, but the idea behind using the video is that you're adding another medium. And the idea behind that is that the students are being able to interact and engage with the book in different ways, because after they've listened and heard the video, they'll split up into groups and get their own copy of the book. And that way, after they've seen and heard the video, they'll be able to engage with the book by reading, seeing, and touching, and so they're interacting with it in even more ways. And so the idea behind that is Vykotski's theory of tools and mediation. And so the idea that they're interacting with the video and then the book and then their peers, they have all sorts of different forms of mediation going on, and they're having many opportunities to make meaning with the text, with the story. So that's the story behind the videos and that activity. So for the next activity is focusing more on the discussions. And the idea is that after that they've read the book or seen the video, they split up into groups of no more than 2 or 3. The idea with that number is that it gives enough for a positive discussion, but if you go more than 3, I think that some children might slip through the cracks and go unheard. And so according to the WIDA website, they can do descriptors. By first grade, students should be able to explain and discuss what happened in a story. So I would give the students all a sheet with questions. They'd be questions like, why did the big bad wolf go to the pig's house in the first place? Or what was the misunderstanding? How did the story change? And so the students would first have an opportunity to process what they've learned. They'll have the book in front of them. If they need to look back at it, then they can, even just review with the pictures. But they'll have an opportunity to process and write it out on their own. And then they'll have a chance to come together with the 2 or 3 peers and discuss those questions, and even think of their own questions about the book that they had. And so the idea behind this is that they're participating in peer-to-peer dialogue. And recent research by Landolf, Thorne, and Swain on different collaborative dialogue has shown that it leads to a lot of productive learning. And it's shown that the peer-to-peer interaction can lead to positive ZPD instruction. Before with Vykotski, we kind of understood that there was a teacher and there was a student, and that's how ZPD worked. That's how they could attain that next level of understanding. But with this new research, we understand that peers can be that instructor. They can be instructors for each other. And so that's the idea behind that second activity. So some reflections on this activity, I can see where some challenges could be seen. One challenge is that students may not be familiar with the original version of the fairy tale, and depending on culture and background, that could be the case. And also, a study by Platt and Brooks in 1994 evaluated pair and group activities, and they actually found that it didn't always provide a uniform learning environment because it depended on the peers' engagement with the activity. Some were kind of going through the motions, some were really engaged, and so it didn't provide a level playing field. And so I could see that being a problem, that not all students would have the same learning experience or have productive learning. The idea with the interaction is that there are different experiences with peers, but that it's productive. And I could see that that would be a challenge if students weren't engaged. But benefits of it is if that peer-to-peer interaction is going well, then students are having a positive learning experience and having that ZVT instruction. And also, the WIDA website categorizes their objectives for English language learners by speaking, listening, reading, and writing. And these activities actually touch on all of those objectives. So that's actually wonderful for English language learners. And for future application, this outline, these activities, they're very general. And I think if I were to use it in a future classroom, I would take a look at the specific needs of my English language learners, of the students, of the class as a whole, to know the right questions to ask, the best mediums for them to interact with. And so I would just make it more personalized. So that would be the changes for future application.